Man GP. Ladies and gentlemen, today is election day in India, or at least in the western part of India. It is the fifth phase of the Lok Sabha election, and I hope most of the eligible voters would have gone to their respective polling booths and they would have registered their priceless vote so that we can have one more term of a very stable government in our great country. So, ladies and gentlemen, today I bring to you a very new invention. It is a very interesting invention. It is an industrial product, so to say, but it has a lot of utility. It is very easy to understand. So without wasting any further time, I'm going to start my presentation. The invention that I'll be presenting today is is a granted patent. Patent has already been granted for this invention by the Indian Patent Office. So just bear with me. I'm presenting my PPT. Okay, so the title of today's invention is a flask. Okay, so what is a flask? A flask is a sort of a container in which liquids are stored. So the invention which I'm going to discuss today is concerning a flask in which many inflammable liquids are stored, like diesel or gasoline, so on and so forth. But before I get into the nitty-gritties of the invention, first and foremost, I would like to discuss the technical problems that the inventor has located or identified from the prior art. So, so far as the conventionally or the traditionally known flasks are concerned, in which inflammable materials or inflammable liquids such as gasoline or diesel is stored, when such kind of liquids are poured inside the flask, a small static charge gets developed inside the body of the hollow body of the flask. Now, when this static charge or this static electricity, it exceeds a certain threshold, there is a possibility of sparking, and therefore there is definitely a possibility of an explosion, because the inflammable material can catch fire because of the sparking, and therefore the explosion can take place. So therefore it is very much desirable that the static charge that gets generated or accumulated inside the body of the flask when the liquid is poured in the flask, that static charge is dissipated outside the flask, and it is grounded, you can say. Okay, it is sent to the ground. So today's invention is concerning a device or a means through which this grounding of the static charge has been effected by the inventor. Okay, there is another problem that the inventor has identified in the prior art, which is that the flask that is used to store such kinds of inflammable liquids, they can be metallic flasks also. So therefore, a separate means to dissipate the static charge may not be required, because since most of the metals are highly conductive, they can definitely dissipate the static charge that is accumulated inside the flask. But with a metallic flask, the drawback or the deficiency that the inventor has observed is that they are susceptible to denting or some kind of tampering. When such kind of denting takes place on a metallic flask, it alters the volume of the liquid that can be stored inside the flask, and therefore wherever it is required that a particular volume of a particular measurement has to be stored in that flask, that measurement can get altered, and therefore it might lead to some kind of technical difficulties later on. So that is another drawback which the inventor has identified in the prior art. So today's invention is a flask. This invention is a granted patent. A patent has already been granted for this particular invention. The patent number is 509347, and the patent has been granted in the name of BOROSIL Technologies Limited, which is an Indian company, it seems. So heartiest congratulations first and foremost to BOROSIL Technologies Limited for acquiring a granted patent in their name. So I'll move on to the next slide. So this is a drawing of a flask as per an aspect or as per an embodiment of the present invention. Okay, so here what we see is a hollow body. Okay, before that, here what we see is a flask which is denoted by number 100. Okay, so this is the entire flask. Now this flask 100, it comprises of two parts. One is number 10, which is a hollow body. So this is the hollow body inside which the inflammable liquid is stored. And the second, the second region we can say is the neck region of the flask. So which is denoted by number 20. And on the neck region, a calibrated scale for measuring the volume of the contents which are poured inside the flask can be measured. Okay, the scale is sort of imprinted on the inner surface of the neck region. Okay, so there is a mouth opening which is denoted by number 28. Of course, the mouth opening is required for pouring the liquid inside and also for pouring the liquid from inside, for pouring it out of the flask. There is a handle at number 16. The handle is actually on the back side of this drawing, so it can be seen in the form of a light shading. It will be more clear in the next drawings. And the main aspect of this invention, or the main sort of component of this invention, because of which the static charge is capable of being dissipated out of the flask and it can be grounded, is at number 30, which is your static charge removing means. So it is a device that has been sort of implemented on a pre-existing flask, okay, in this manner. So this is the basic construction. These are the basic components of today's invention. I'll go to the next drawing. So this is a perspective view of the flask as it would have been seen in the real time. Okay, so again we have the flask at number 100. So this is the flask. Okay, it has the hollow body which is at 10. Okay, and we can see that see the the level of some liquid that is contained inside the hollow body of the flask. Okay, there is a neck region 20. Okay, the hollow body is covered by a jacket which the inventor is calling as a first jacket, which is at number 12. So this is the jacket. Okay, and this handle which is at number 16, it is part of the jacket, we can say, or it is progressing from the jacket, we can say. Okay, and the jacket, the first jacket, has a first slit opening. So these are the first slit openings which are beneficial or which are used by the user to view the contents of the level of the contents inside the flask. Okay, so this level is visible through the first slit. Okay, and the neck region is also covered by a second jacket at number 24, and there is a second slit opening to view the calibrated scale which is imprinted on the neck region. Okay, of course there is the mouth opening at number 28, and we see that there is the static charge removing means which is contouring along the neck region, this black shaded portion here, and it is moving along the handle, and it is moving below the handle, and it is going below the flask in entirety. Okay, so this is another drawing which is showing the main components of this particular invention. We go to the next drawing. The next drawing comprises a sectional perspective view of the flask as per an embodiment or as per an aspect of the present invention. So here what we see is the hollow body here, and we see the level of the liquid that is stored inside the hollow body of the flask. We have the handle at number 16. I have not written the word handle over here. Of course, in this particular drawing, the inventor has focused mainly on the static charge removal device, which has been denoted by number 30 in the previous drawing. And according to the inventor, the static charge removal device or static charge removal means is divided into 4 sections. So the 3 sections are visible in this particular drawing, and the last section is visible in the next drawing. So the first section is extending in the hollow body of the flask. Okay, so this is the first section. So it is a metallic strip that is extending inside the hollow body of the flask. It is in regular contact with the liquid that is stored inside the hollow body of the flask. It is extending along the inner surface of the neck, and it progresses into the second section that is fixed to the rim of the mouth opening. So the second section is actually sort of pocked inside the mouth opening of the flask. Okay. And from there, the third section progresses and it contours along the neck region and also the outside region of the handle, and it moves below the hollow body of the flask, or below the handle, we can say. Okay, so the first section is denoted by the reference numeral 30A. 30B is the second section, which is fixed to the rim of the mouth opening. The third section is contouring along the neck as well as the handle to progress towards the bottom region of the handle, and towards the base of the flask. It is denoted by 30C. And the fourth and the last section is denoted by 30D, okay, which is fixed at the which is fixed at the base of the hollow body. So therefore, the third section that is progressing along the handle and moving towards the bottom portion of the handle, it further progresses into a circular disc, which is made of the same metallic material. The entire the static charge removal means that has been denoted by number 30. Number 30 here. This entire static charge removal means is made of the same metallic material, you can see. It's made by the same metal. Okay. And this particular circular base, metallic base, is constantly in touch with the ground. Okay. So now it's very easy for everyone to understand how the grounding of the static charge takes place. Naturally, when the I will go to the working of the present invention. So when the static charge gets accumulated inside the hollow body of the flask, okay, after a certain point, the static charge is sort of transmitted to the first section, okay, which is extending in the hollow body, which is in direct contact with the liquid. So that static charge then gets transmitted to the second section, which is fixed to the rim of the mouth opening. From there, it gets transmitted to the third section, which is contouring along the neck and also along the handle, going towards the bottom of the handle. And from there, the charge gets dissipated to the fourth section, which is fixed at the base of the hollow body and which is also in touch with the ground. And that is where the static charge gets transmitted to the ground. That is how the static charge actually gets grounded. So this is basically today's invention. The technical advantages. I'll move on to the technical advantages. The first technical advantage is that, of course, as we saw, this particular static charge removing means it enables a user, or it enables the dissipation of the static charge that is developed inside the hollow body of the flask, from the hollow body of the flask to the ground. That is number one. Number two, the use of metallic material to manufacture the flask is totally avoided. Therefore, it helps in avoiding any kind of tampering and the associated problems with metallic flasks. A non-metallic flask, like a glass flask, a flask that is manufactured by glass, can be used in this particular in this particular product. So these are some of the technical advantages. So I hope you liked today's invention. If you liked today's invention, then please subscribe to my channel at the rate of PatmanGP. If you have any questions, please share them in your comments. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. Please like, please share, please comment. This is your PatmanGP.